Good morning from a very nice Peterborough. Sun's out, blowing a little bit. What I want to talk about today is something that people have been asking me through the comments section for quite some time, and although it's still a little bit early, let's have a look at the polycarbonate covers that we primarily use now to keep the heron off, but come the winter time they'll be used to try and retain some of the heat inside. I'll just give you an overview of how they look and how we actually operate them, and then we'll look at the actual properties of the polycarbonate, perhaps the cost and the supplier. So this is what they look like on. I haven't taken them off this morning, but this is what they look like when we come down on a morning ready to remove them. So this section has casters on. My first thought was just to make things easier for myself and Kat, if we can get it upright, we can wheel them around and get them out of the way. As you can see, I've had to cut slots in for the gravity water blade and for the pump fed water blade, which basically drops down through these letterboxes. The two sections that are hinged are just to make it easy to raise and lower it, because every so often this edge will snag against these pieces of stone, and I didn't want to make it any shorter. It snags against this as well, so we just flick this back out of the way. I'll see if I can do this one-handed without actually falling in, and flick that back. So that now makes it easier for us to raise and lower. This did have casters on, but yeah, I was a bit too heavy-handed and smashed one of them off. If the wind gets underneath that water blade and blows the water on top of the polycarbonate sheet, there is sufficient gap all the way around for the water to simply run straight back off and straight back into the pond again. One of the things that the considerations were not so much how easy it is to get on and off, but if we ever get high winds, will they remain on the pond? Now, we've had some ridiculously high winds and it has not concerned the covers at all. As you can see, the 50mm by 50mm tannalized bearers, they support the weight to some degree, but with it being polycarbonate and the particular size, there's not a lot of weight to it. It's purely for resting it on top of the pond, stopping it moving around, and the green handles are fastened to it so we can lift them on and off. What we generally do is grab hold of these pieces of rope, plant our feet either side of these 50mm, and basically lift, and that's all there is to it. They are very light, so once we get them to an upright position, I won't do that because I'm using the camera with one hand. We get them to an upright position, left hand on that handle, right hand on that handle, and basically carry them vertical and put them down the side of the garages. We just put them down there so they're out of the way, they're protected from the wind. The only time we put them in the garage is if the grandkids are coming and they want to play on the climbing wall. Oh, while I've got the garage door open, I'll show you just some of the fittings that you actually use. See, it's like an edging strip, because as you can appreciate, you can cut one way and then cut the other way, and it creates these channels, or you get these channels. So I'll just spin that round. So these slide on the edges to make them look neat, to be honest, and they don't push all the way in. I think you can just about see a little raised ridge inside, and they go up to that ridge, and either it's for airflow or any water or condensation that may get trapped inside is able to flow out through, I'll put this down, flow out through this section, whereas this section is actually fastened to the polycarbonate. So like I said, this will act as a drain, because there's a good chance that this is going to be sloped for a roof. And then on the reverse side, there's not any on that because it's a short piece. On the reverse side there are some fitting holes, and I basically just put some little 1/2-inch screws in, self-tapper screws, which held them into place. And while we're here, and after watching Koi Diaries, I'd just like to point out that I've got a 4-foot spirit level, Andy. Just thought I'd throw that in, sorry. So we'll I'll get Cat to lift these off, and then you can see how easy they are to move around, or I might lift them off. I'll get them into a vertical position so we can see the underside of them. Bear with me. So I've got one section out. You can now see the air gap. I think it's about maybe 50-60 mil from the surface of the water, so any foul gases can actually pass in there and pass through the gaps and get rid of that. There is a gap between the two sheets as well. This is the edging strip I was telling you about. It's very secure. So now I'll show you the underside of how they're actually fitted on to the 50 mil by 50 mil bearers. So you get these, they're almost like a cup washer. So the centre of it looks like this, and you basically have to drill a 13 mil hole to allow this, which looks pretty much like an inverted top hat. You push this through the polycarbonate material itself and then secure it with the screw, and then you put a cap over the top and then tap it with a hammer. This particular product, the polycarbonate is superb. These are a little bit iffy. They moving them around on and off has made them pop off, so we find them all over the garden, to be honest. I would suggest that in a roofing situation where there's absolutely no movement, these will all stay in position, so you won't get a problem. Right, climb back out of here again and get the second piece out. Again, be with you in a second. So I've just raised this vertical, what am I, 5'8", so this is about 1.8 metres tall, something like that. The whole length of the bottom part of the pond was 3.5 metres, so basically I bought 3.5 by 2.1 metre polycarbonate, and that was about £120 delivered, something like that. But I'll put on the comments or on this video who the supplier was. I'll find that for you. So the handles, they came from Amazon, and it's the type of handles that children use in playgrounds for climbing on and off particular things, and during winter time they won't be as harsh as a metal handle. The construction itself, if I can get a close-up of that, I'm pretty certain this is called triple wall, simply because there are 3 walls involved, and the whole width I think is 16 mil. There are several widths to choose from, all have prices attached to them. I wanted a toss-up between easily moving them around with myself and Cat, and thick enough to retain the rigidity that we needed, because we knew we were going to take them on and off constantly, and cost. You can get to, I think it's 25, 35 mil. The 35 mil will probably have really good heat retaining properties, but quite expensive and potentially could be heavy. Another thing that we needed to consider was if we had any snowfall and the snow fell on the polycarbonate sheet, we'd be able to sweep it straight off without actually damaging the surface of the polycarbonate. In the past we have tried bubble wrap. We bought some bubble wrap with like a silver side on and a blue side on, and the manufacturer said, oh, this is great for heat retaining properties. You might have seen it on some videos maybe a year or two ago. It didn't work. It was unsuccessful. What we found was that laid on the surface of the water and it just kept moving around. The water blade then put water on it, dirt got in there, and it was just a manky mess. So hence we bought the polycarbonate sheet, and I'll have to give this stuff 100%. This is really good quality stuff. Be prepared to pay, like I said, if you want thicker material, but it is, for me, the way forward, especially over winter. So hopefully come January, February, March, when the temperatures are going to be low, we'll keep an eye on the temperature of the pond water and the internal temperature of the greenhouse, and hopefully both of them working together will keep the water temperature higher than last year, but that's to be decided. But anyway, I now need to move this down the side of the garage. So one more quick look at the wall structure. Hope you can see that. And one last thing is, don't lay it on your grass, because the sun will just basically burn straight through the grass. This highly magnifies the heat. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. I hope this has helped. Any further questions, please let myself and Kat know on the comments. So you take care, have a safe weekend, look after your family.